Yeah, so thank you for breaking my heart. And that one was actually written about an experience I had during a week-long meditation intensive. Yeah, Secrets of the Angels. You know, I think that the title of that one, Secrets of the Angels, is a really important part of the piece and important for understanding what it's about. Yeah, but it's also about an attitude about life, about a willingness to take risks, knowing what the consequences might be, and jumping in anyway. You know. And then afterwards, no regrets. I made that decision with my eyes open, no regrets. Yeah, I was wanting to write about some of the experiences that I was having in my spiritual practice. And it's really hard to write about that stuff without just sounding stupid. And I thought about Rumi and how he wrote so many poems that can be read as just basic love poems about his woman he's in love with. But especially when you put them in the context of the rest of his writing, you realize that he's talking about higher love. And so I started playing with using that metaphor in the context of popular song forms. And so taking the romantic relationship that's at the center of most popular song forms and using that as a metaphor to allow me to write about the experiences that I was having in my spiritual practices. Yeah, you know, as I started working with Rumi's metaphor, I started looking at the songs that I had written about human relationships, and many of them I started seeing things in them and realized that there was also a level that they were saying things about life and in my relationship with life and the great mystery in which we all live. So one of the things I love about working with Rumi's metaphor is that when it really works, when the songs really work, they say very interesting things on both levels. And they end up saying very interesting things about human to human relationships and about higher love in that relationship. And often I'm thinking about both levels while I'm writing the song. And it's been a good teacher for me. It's helped me realize that those two forms of love are really not that different. So yeah, you know, the first noble truth can be interpreted in a lot of ways and translated in a lot of ways. It's got this Sanskrit word dukkha in the original that can mean a lot of different things and has connotations that don't necessarily come through in the translations. But one of the interpretations of the first noble truth that I've always really resonated with is that all of life is not what you think it is. And also not what you think it should be. Yeah, I wrote that one many years ago when I was in my mid-20s. And it felt like the universe asked me to write this song. I had this year during which the issue of sexual violence against women and how it affects women and how it affects men's relationships with women, it was just in my face. During that year, 5 different women told me the story of being raped. And for 3 of them, they also told me that I was the first man that they'd been able to tell the story to. And I didn't have any counseling skills back then. I didn't really know what to do, so I just kind of sat there and gave them good attention, which was probably exactly what they needed. But I mean, when somebody tells you something like that, you treat it with a lot of respect. And I had enough instincts to tell me to do that. And then kind of maybe because of this, but I was just noticing all these little things, like, you know, I'm hanging out with some friends and I get up to leave and this woman says that she's afraid to walk out in the parking lot alone, and would I walk to her car with her? You know, and just little things like that were just putting this issue in my face. And then one night this song just came out. And I wrote it in like 3 or 4 hours, pretty much exactly as it is. And then all these things quit happening. It was like the universe said, you need to write this song. And then once I'd written it, I was like, okay, you're done. On to the next thing. Yeah, so when my wife and I were kind of working out our relationship, you know, we figured out pretty quickly that it was important to allow all of the hurts and joys and sorrows that we brought from our previous relationships, to allow them to be a part of our relationship, because they're a part of who we are now. And I wrote this song about that. And then, but in singing it over the years, I've come to realize that there's a parallel in my spiritual practice, that it's important to include everything. You know, sometimes I think, oh, I shouldn't think this way, or I shouldn't feel this way, and I want to push it away. But I think it's important to include it all, to let it be a part of the practice. Yeah, I wrote this song many years ago during a time when I was feeling sort of alienated and, you know, overwhelmed by the political situation of the time, even though it was much less crazy than right now. And I was feeling that pull to kind of withdraw, to not let myself be fully alive. And, you know, I wanted to write something about that that would help me deal with it. And so I started asking myself, what would be the most difficult situation in which to stay fully alive, and in which to not let myself drop into despair? And, you know, this is what I came up with. And over the years, it's become kind of a mantra for me. Whenever I feel kind of overwhelmed and like the world is too crazy, you know, I come back to this: dance in the light. You know, dance where you are no matter what. I will not let myself sink into despair no matter how crazy things are. And things are pretty crazy right now. So it's a good song for me. It's meant a lot to me over the years.